Excellent. Okay. So we are going to analyze and we are going to um, discover new roles the teachers may have in a class. Sometimes we are just limited to think about the roles of the teacher, but the traditional ones, no? Pues to be an advisor, a psychologist, a technician, things like that. Mhm. But sometimes we don't stop to think about the different roles we can play in every single stage of our classes, okay? Depending on the activity, depending on the aim, depending on what we want to get from our students, it can be, I don't know, information or um, an evidence of learning. No, probably we want to rescue previous knowledge. Depending on that, we are going to play different roles. And we are going to identify them according to the stage of every single uh, lesson we prepare. Entonces, by the end of this session, we are going to be able to define teachers' roles, explain the different roles involved in a lesson, select teachers' roles appropriate to each stage, and or the different activities we manage in the classroom. Okay? Entonces, pues sometimes we are told that the teacher is someone who has the knowledge, so can teach the students, is the ones who helps the students to understand, the ones who clarify questions, mhm, the ones the one that provides this guidance, talking about the topics, the one that probably explains and exposes the rules of a game, the one that sets the boundaries, and the one that uh, goes with the students shoulder to shoulder in the development of these rules, of these games. Ensures that the learning takes place. So is the one that prepares different types of activities, designs different environments so he can ensure that this learning is occurring. Also taking into account that all the senses must be included in these activities. Is the one that makes the lessons fun, meaningful, yes, entertaining, why not? But more than that, more than funny, memorable. Remember that we learned that emotion is necessary when we are transmitting knowledge or when we are acquiring the knowledge, so it will last for longer time. Okay. The teacher is the one who develops knowledge and skills of learners. We know exactly what the students need, talking about the skills and where and what they need to know in order to go to the following level and being proficient. Is the one that gives homework or home practice, and is the one who checks it, no? The one that provides the feedback, the one that corrects the students, and probably is the one that is observing and decides if he will continue giving further practice, or probably he can go to the follow or can move to the following topic. Is a qualified professional. That's why you are here. That's why you are preparing yourself and you are interested in certifying what you know and learning new things, no? Because you are very, very professional. You are the one who can motivate your students. Through observation, we are aware of the needs and characteristics of our students. So in that way, we can find the exact form, what they need in order to be motivated to keep on learning, yes, the second language, but also acquiring knowledge about the culture, general culture. The one that has lots of knowledge about the topic. We are constantly reading, being in contact with the language, so we can be updated. We know about the new methodologies. We adapt the way we work according to the necessities of the students, no? The clear example is that during the pandemic, we needed to learn about the different platforms using the internet, or probably how to provide classes or to give a class by using WhatsApp, um, recording videos, podcasts, etc. Whatever the tool it was, so we could keep on teaching our students and providing this service, okay? Entonces, more than a technician, more than a nurse, more than a counselor, more than nothing, we are this and more. Entonces, let's analyze how these different roles happen in a lesson plan, okay? Here I have an example of a class of about 90 minutes. I solved the handout with the teachers in the morning, but we can check and analyze together, okay? Entonces, today my lesson is about a new year, different traditions and activities that people around the world do in order to celebrate and commemorate New Year, okay? So my class is about 90 minutes and the main aim is, by the end of the lesson, students may be able to write and say their own New Year resolutions with a good degree of fluency. Entonces, what I want them to do is to express themselves. I'm not going to pay a lot of attention to the accuracy problems, but I'm going to check how natural they are going to speak. And my personal aim in this case is to be focused on the way I'm going to deliver instructions for in an infogap activity. Entonces, the first activity I'm going to have with my students is I'm going to elicit knowledge and previous information my students have about how people in our country celebrate the new year. It's different, the tradition, for example, in the north and in the center of the Mexican Republic and the south. So it's different the way I celebrate New Year's a party with my friends than with my family or on my own, or I don't know. Yes? So I'm going to explore what they know, the vocabulary, the concepts, and the ideas they know related to this topic. By making elicitation. Entonces, in here, what is the teacher going to do? He's going to introduce the topic by setting the question. So in here, my role is like a guide. Mhm. I'm going to direct the conversation to go straight to the exact point I want them to analyze. I'm going to encourage the students to participate and contribute, because normally when we are having this kind of activities, what happens is that only the students who are more pues maybe advanced, or the ones who are more extroverted, are the ones who are always participating. So I need to observe my students and start spotting those students who haven't participated, and probably to invite them to more to motivate them to participate. And also my role is kind of cheerleader, because I'm going to be praising, excellent, very good, oh really, that's interesting, great. Huh? Then I'm going to check, I'm going to provide feedback, because maybe they can sidetrack the conversation, or they may have problems or mistakes about pronunciation, or confusion with words, or probably they don't know how to do it, etc., etc. So in this case, my role is going to be a sort of coach, no? I'm going to tell you, yes, good, good. Okay, practice, practice. You should do this like this and this. And provide the enough practice and correction as the students need it, okay? Then, provide learners with information. So I'm going to be the source. The students, if they don't know something, if they don't know a word in English, I'm going to be the one who is going to provide the answer, okay? Or maybe while setting the context, I can give them the specific information they need. Or maybe I'm going to start by telling my story, by talking about me, the things that I know. So this for the students is easier after I have given the example, okay? The second activity I planned is to explain the students how they are going to develop the info gap. Entonces, I'm going to explain learners. They will have one piece of info about New Year in different countries to enter on info gap sheet. They then move around asking classmates for their information to complete the sheet. I have a demo. Remember that we said that that could be a strategy when I'm delivering instructions. And remember that that is my personal aim. That's why I'm being so careful in the way I'm going to deliver the instructions. So that's why I asked for a demo, another student to come with me and help me with the demo. Then I'm going to distribute the info cards. Some learners will have the same information to complete the sheet. Class reads cards and asks for meaning of any unknown word. So they are prepared. I'm preparing the students before they do the activity. So in here, I will play different roles. In the case of delivery instructions and giving the demo, pues I'm organizing the activity. In this case, I'm going to be an organizer. Then I'm going to explain what to do. So I'm going to be the main source. I'm the one who is providing the information they need in order to accomplish or to fulfill the task. Models the activity. So I'm going to be part of the demo. I'm going to be a model. So I'm going to participate as pretending that I'm another student. Then I'm going to help with the language. In this case, I'm going to be a kind of coach or supporter. answers questions about rules or procedure in the activity. Maybe one of the students didn't get, although we have the demo, was not really clear enough for him or her to be able to um, develop the activity. Entonces, in this case, I'm going to be a kind of coach or the source, okay? Now, so if you see, although in here, I'm the source, the contexts are different. The way I'm going to play that role is different too, okay? In here, make sure they are filling in correctly the info gap. Entonces, I'm going to be observing. Remember, it's important to be observing all the time how my students are developing the activity so I can re-guide, I can provide help, or even I can provide feedback later. And sometimes also, depending on the activity and depending on the aim, I'm going to be observing from the outside the activity. Maybe I'm just observing from above the development of the activity. And some others, it will be very useful to look at the students closely. So monitoring, walking around the students, listening to them, observing closely, probably from the above, what I can see is the whole, the way they behave, no? Not precisely or not necessarily observing the way or listening carefully to what they are saying, but I can see how they are interacting. Remember that this interaction is also part of the abilities for speaking. If the facial expressions, the movements, if they ask for clarification, if they don't, the reactions. So that is also very important. Sometimes, because I want to check closely what they are saying, pues I'm going to be monitoring, walking around. And sometimes also it's good to see the activity from the perspective of students. Entonces maybe I'm going to take my paper and I will be interacting with them as if I were part of the activity, okay? Entonces that will depend on what kind of information I want to obtain from my students. Entonces, pues definitely this observation, this coaching, this guidance, is going to be different. Luego, I'm going to make sure that they are filling in correctly the info gap. So maybe in here, what I'm doing is observing closely. In the case of observation, I'm going to be an evaluator because remember, I have my objectives and I'm going to be checking if in general, they are accomplishing that objective and individually, because maybe today I need to evaluate the first 5 from the list, no? Then I'm going to be a listener, I'm going to be a helper, a source, just in case the students need it and ask for it. Because remember that in here, what I'm pretending the students to develop is fluency. Entonces, just in case they ask for help, I'm going to show up there, okay? Now, get brief feedback from learners about New Year in different countries. Introduces the new concept of New Year, of New Year resolutions. Asks some questions to check the understanding of the concept. So in here, I'm going to provide the feedback about the different customs around the world when celebrating New Year. Entonces in here, I'm going to be a coach because maybe they don't know exactly how to pronounce or how to say something and they may need some help. And I'm going to be kind of evaluating. In here, I'm evaluating, yes, the management of the information, but also the speaking activities, no, and also the developments. Introduces the new concept of New Year resolutions. In this case, for example, I'm going to be a source. I'm going to be prompting as well. Brainstorming. Because by using this activity, the students can figure out more or less, or they are going to relate the celebration of New Year with resolutions. And in here, apart from teaching grammar, vocabulary, and language, I'm teaching culture. I'm teaching even geography. Because, for example, I was sharing with your classmates in the morning that in Russia, when it's New Year, they have their glass of champagne and they have some strips of paper. So before the midnight, they write the resolutions or a wish on the piece of paper. And when it's 12 o'clock and the bells are ringing, they, by using a lighter, they burn that piece of paper. And the ashes, they put the ashes in the champagne. So what they do is drink it. And according to them, pues that means that you will be able to achieve or to accomplish your desire, no? Or in other countries, I don't remember the country, but there is a country, like in here, we give away these the ships for the money. In that country, I think it's in Europe, but I don't remember. They make pigs made of almond dough or walnut or it's peanut, something like that, like a mazapan, more or less. And if you want to desire wellness and positive things to a relative or a friend, you make this piggy shape and you give it to that person in form of that you are wishing that person good things for the new year to come. Entonces, pues we can introduce, we can talk about, we can share this experience we have, and it's culture. At the end, is culture. Then I'm going to check the understanding of the concept of resolutions. So in here, I'm going to be a guide and I'm going to be prompting. Luego, in the activity number 5, the brainstorm, is a brainstorm of kinds of things people normally make resolutions about. Weight loss, learn English, end up the university, bueno, those kind of things, no? And he or she elicits the grammatical chunk of going to express intentions for the future. Entonces, in this case, because I'm going to be eliciting, pues I'm going to encourage the students to participate. I'm going to be the coach, the source, and the cheerleader. And I'm going to encourage the students to participate and prompt. Entonces, again, coach, cheerleader, and guide. Okay? Then, in the number 6, the activity number 6, pues the students work in groups of 4. Learners write 3 resolutions between them. So what I'm going to do is to organize the students into teams. So I'm going to be an organizer. I'm going to be a coach. And according to what we analyzed yesterday about the mixed ability groups, pues I'm going to be a kind of psychologist, no? I'm going to decide based on the profiles of the students who is best in specific team and who is not. I'm going to give instructions, so I'm going to be the organizer and the source. I'm going to be observing, taking care of what they are saying, if they are really using their topic and the structure asked, and the way they are developing and interacting in the activity, okay? And the last activity is that they share their resolutions with the rest of the class and all together discuss about the most interesting one. Can be the most interesting one or the strangest, no? Or can be the cheapest, or can be the most expensive. Or can be the most difficult, no? Depending what I want them to do. If I want to do it very, very funny, pues probably the weirdest or the strangest. In here, what I'm going to do, pues I'm going to invite, I'm going to encourage the students to participate, to listen actively to one another, to make a decision, to back up, to say why they made that decision. So in this case, pues I'm going to be listening, organizing, I'm going to be the source, I'm going to be the evaluator, the coach, the cheerleader, Ivan, y moderator, no? Okay, your turn, counting the votes, etc. In here, the most important thing is to realize that although the roles are repeated, the intention or the reason why is going to be different. And also this point, the active listening by the teacher. I need to be listening constantly to the students, being aware of what they need. And based on that, also will depend the different roles I'm going to be playing in the class. Sometimes the students are so limited in knowledge, so insecure about the capacities when using the language, that instead of being a listener, but and more than being an organizer or a source, I'm going to be a guide. At the beginning, a source, because I'm going to provide the vocabulary, the tools, the strategies they need. And little by little, when they gain more practice in what they are doing, pues I'm not going to be the source. I'm going to be the coach. Frío, frío, caliente, caliente, así, no, acá. Remember that. And at the end, when they are using freely the language, pues I'm going to be the listener, the observer, and the evaluator, okay? And in here, also, depending on the aim, depending on the needs, depending on the characteristics of the group, also I will promote the different interactional patterns among the students. If they need to process and introspect and internalize knowledge first before using it, pues I'm going to promote individual work or close pairs or trios in mixed ability trios. And my role also will change depending on the interactional patterns. Okay, so During a lesson, during a class, my roles are going to be different as well. I'm going to be the planner, the ones who plans and proposes the activities. I'm going to inform. Remember that I need to share the objectives and the aims with the students. I need to be a manager. The manager is the one that organizes, that says who is going to do this and who is going to do that, probably to make a calendar, program activities. If we need to hand in a final project at the end of the term, pues organize the teams, supervise that they are doing correctly. I'm going to be an involver. What does that mean? That I'm going to be a kind of person that is trying to bring them all together, to feel that they belong to the same group, that they are part of one thing, and that they are go together. They are together, they are walking together, and they, for this reason, can support each other. I'm going to be a diagnostician because at the very beginning, I'm going to do this diagnosis. I'm going to select, or I'm going to obtain all the samples from my students, and I will plan lessons according to their needs. I'm going to be the resource. I'm going to be the facilitator, the counselor, the monitor, and the assessor. Whenever they need it, I'm going to be available. And probably, if I'm very conscious about these different roles and the impact these different roles, depending on the activity, depending on the aim, may have in my students, pues I can also make the difference. I can motivate them, I can inspire them, and I can change their attitude. Okay? Pues in general, that's all. I don't know if you have any questions about the different teachers' roles. If you want to comment something about this. Hello, Miss Nayeli. Good evening. No, afternoon. Okay.
Hi, good afternoon, teacher.
Oiga, teacher Jorge, you were with me previously, right? In module 2, I guess. In summer. Okay, excellent. But now you are done with your modules. Okay. Entonces, excellent. Very good. I'm very glad. Entonces, pues, I don't know if you have anything else to say before we go to the to work with the mock exam. I really want to thank you for your patience, for your support, for being here, punctual, uploading your activities, taking your time in reading. Although you didn't have the time, but at least you were here listening to the class and trying to make the difference in you and your students, okay? So listen what we are going to do, and I'm going to say it in Spanish. Lo que vamos a hacer, y habíamos acordado, es que ya no vamos a entregar ninguna planeación, porque estoy súper consciente de que tienen sus evaluaciones y están cerrando cursos, etcétera, etcétera. Entonces, nada más con hacer su mock y subir su hojita con los resultados, cómo les fue, cuánto tiempo hicieron, qué parte se les hizo más difícil, y si tienen alguna duda, pues que puedan consultarme antes de fin de año. Y, ¿qué más? Les voy a pedir nada más así como extra una pequeña mm, como reflexión sobre todo lo que aprendieron en estos 3 módulos, de qué se llevan, cómo si les ha cambiado algo, si aprendieron algo nuevo, si intentaron algo nuevo, o sea, cómo se van ustedes. Ajá. Nada más como para que ustedes también se escriban a sí mismos y vean realmente qué fue lo que pudieron aprovechar del curso. Entonces, pues si quieren, voy a detener la grabación y